Hello everyone. Welcome you all to another chapter of the Python beginners tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 10 where I'll be showing you guys about importing modules in Python. Okay. So once you understand about how to import modules in Python, your whole perspective of looking at programming will basically change. Okay. So there are a lot of things I will tell you guys in this particular chapter. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the same project in which we have worked in our last class. So now we need to understand that what importing module means. Let's say here now I am in a particular project, and from this particular project I do have different kind of Python files itself right over here. And maybe let's say now let's first create up a new Python file. Okay, let's name this one as importing modules dot py, and let's click on enter right over here. And also let's say in our last class I do have worked over here in function, so I will just import this particular or I'll just open up this functions Python file as well. So over here, you guys can see that I do have this particular function. And now what I want to do is I want to come right over here, and the same functions which I do have inside this functions Python file, I want to import the same thing right over here. Instead of coming here and copying this thing down, what I can also do is I can directly import whatever items I do have inside this particular function file inside the same project. Okay. So if I do want to do that, what I can do is I can just type import. Let's give it up a space. And after that, I can just type functions. Okay. I can just type the name of that Python file. Okay. So once I'm right over here, and if I just click on enter, now here I can just tell that what exactly do I want inside my function file. Okay, so I can just come here and I can basically print. So again, let's come here and let's type print. Let's open parenthesis, and over here now again I'm gonna name that particular file. Okay, so I will just type functions, and after writing functions, if I did have so many options right over here, I can just put out a dot, and here you guys can see that I do have the function which is saying hello. If I do want to also import all of these values, I can come here and I can just import all of these values right over here. As you guys can see, now I do have functions dot saying hello, and now I can also provide the information right under here as well. Okay, so if I just come here, let's say Mike, and now let's come right over here and let's open. I will just write Nottingham. And now if I just run this particular code here, you guys can see that it shows me this. Hello Nolan, you are from London. Hello David, you're from Amsterdam. Hello Connor, you're from Brighton. And also hello Mike, you are from Nottingham. So this is how you guys can actually import the module which I do have worked in our last class as well. Okay. So this particular function, I already do have this particular function which is inside these functions, and the same thing I have imported that particular module over here. As you guys can see, I do have named the Python file from which I have exported. I didn't write the whole code, but what all I did is I have just imported the whole thing, and now once I have run, you guys can see I do have this particular answer right over here on my screen. Okay, so this is how you guys can basically import modules right over here. So this is what we learned, that if you have a particular function, or if you have different kind of variables which you don't want to write again and again, and you want to use that in a new Python file, how you will be able to do that inside a particular project. Okay, but now let's say we do want some of the files which is outside this particular project. There are functions, and there is always a possibility that what you are trying to do at this point of time in programming, someone else have already found the solution of that particular programming. So instead of writing the whole thing down, you guys can just get inspiration from them and maybe just use those particular code accordingly. So to do that, there are few of the things which we'll learn right over here. So the first thing is you come here into your Chrome or any search engine, and from here make sure to write list of Python modules. Okay, so once you type list of Python modules, here you guys can see you will have all of the standard library right over here. So I'll just click on the Python module index. Make sure that you do follow what version of Python you are using. So I'll just click on right over here, and it will show me a bunch of modules which are right over here. Okay, so as you guys can see now, I do have this particular version. So here you guys can choose what kind of version you guys wanna work on, of what kind of version you guys are looking the module index. So here you guys can see the letter wise I do have different kind of functions right over here, and also you guys can just read out that what this particular module does. So here the ABC module abstract base classes according to .pip 3119. Here you guys can just read this whole thing out, and whatever module you guys need, you guys can come here and you guys can take it right from here. Okay, so now you guys can just come down from here, and let's say I do want to click on CMath function right over here, and over here I can just read about the CMath function, like what it is used for, in what particular cases, and here also you guys do have different kind of examples. Okay, in what scenarios it is being used. Okay, you guys can check all of this right over here. Okay, so there are a lot of things which you guys can come here and you guys can explore. So this goes with all of these modules which I do have right over here. Okay, so if I just click on right over here, you guys can also see that for few of the codes, they do have the source code as well. Okay, so inside your Python file, they'll also tell you that inside your Python project where this particular code is being stored. Okay, so there are two different type of modules. One is inbuilt, and one is that we have to export that particular module into our Python file. Okay, so in our particular module index, we do have few of those which we need to export. We have to understand, we have to read those things up, and over here few also do have the source code. Okay, so here it shows that inside your Python project, inside the lib and C types, you do have these C types functions right over here. And if you don't want to check it out, for that you need to go to your PyCharm, and from here, now let's increase the size right over here. You guys can see under this Python tutorial project, I do have this external libraries. Okay, and under external libraries, you guys can see I do have this option known as lib. Okay, so if I just click on lib right over here, I need to make sure that I search which was C types. Okay, so let's type for C types. Okay, so here you guys can see I do have the C types function or module, and under this C types module, I also do have different kind of file which I can call it right over here. Okay, so let's say if I want to come here, and I will just close this one down, and here inside this import option, let me just call out this one. Okay, so let's go with C types. Okay, so here you guys can see now I do have the C types. If I click on enter, now let's click on print, and if I just open my parenthesis, and again I will just type C types, and if I just put one dot, you guys can see under C types, I do have all of these options which I can import. So it totally depends on me what I want to export. Do I want to export this particular function? Do I want this variable, or do I want all these characters right over here? So this is how you guys can import a lot of this module inside. Okay, and also you guys can just double click on it and open this particular Python file right over here as well. Like whatever you guys feel good for you, you guys can actually do that right over here. Okay, so this is how you guys can work, and under this lib file you guys can see that we do have a lot of these Python modules which you guys can use. Okay, so now again let's come back right over here, and if you just want to go back, you guys can just explore all of this. Like it will just take years for you to understand like how each and everything, every of this particular module works. Okay, so this was about which all are basically present inside like the inbuilt modules. Let's say now you are searching for something and you don't got that particular thing right over here. So in that case, what you're gonna do is most probably in most of the cases, the work you are trying to do, someone have already done that particular work. So you guys can just search like Python file for XYZ function, or if you can just state that what you want to do, and you guys can just tell that Python file for this particular thing. So you guys will get a lot of the options from there. You guys can just click, maybe you guys can copy, otherwise you guys can check how to install that, and you guys can also import those right over here. So in few cases, if you want to install an third party file, okay, a third party module, in that case what are you gonna do? So for that, the first thing, you guys need to come here into your search engine, and from your search engine you guys can just type a Python module list, or I as I have written Python docs, you guys can also write that thing. And let's say, let me just show you, let's come right over here, let me just click on the first option over here which is appearing. So as you guys can see now, here I do have this information. Okay, you guys can see that I do have this particular code. From here, what all I need to do is I need to come here and I need to click on installing. Okay, and once you click on installing, here you guys can see the information of how you will be basically importing this particular set of code. Okay, so here it shows that you need to come here, you need to go to your command prompt from your PC or your laptop, and you need to type pip install python docs. Okay, so if you're using Python 3, in that particular case you don't have to install Python separately, because like you don't have to install pip separately because you already do have a built-in pip already installed. But if you're using the Python 2 version, in that case manually you will have to install pip. Okay, so there are different videos from where you guys can go and see that how to install pip. Okay, as I already do have it installed, as I'm using 3.12 version right over here. So for that, now let's come here, and as you guys can see, I do have to type pip install python docs. Okay, so now let's come here, let's go to my command prompt, and let's come to my command prompt right over here. And from here, first thing first, what I need to do is I need to check out my pip version. Okay, so let me just type pip hash double hash, and if I just click on enter, you guys can see my pip version is 24.0 right over here. So it already means that pip is already being installed here in my PC. So now to install this particular docs which I already have, okay, what I need to do is this third party document or this Python file. If I want to install, I need to type pip install python docs. Okay, so I'll just do the same thing. I will just type pip install python slash docs. Okay, and if I just click on enter, you guys will see that it is just collecting all the data, and this one is basically downloading the Python docs 1.1.2, and here you guys can see it is just downloading. And once it is done downloading, you guys will also be able to see that it shows you that it is being already installed. Okay, so here you guys can see it is collecting the typing extensions. It is just downloading the typing instructions. So sometimes it totally depends on the speed of your internet which you're using. If it's slow a few many times, it will be a bit late. So as you guys can see, my net is kind of slow, so it might take a bit while for me, as you guys can see over here. So I'll just wait for that to get installed, and then we'll move on to the next part. So over here now, as you guys can see, I was trying to install this particular file, but I did had an error right over here, but it is getting downloaded. Okay, so now let me just close this thing up, and I've just showed you that how you guys can do that, like install and just type Python docs, and let me just close my browser right over here, and the file which you have installed, it will be saved inside this external libraries under the site packages. Okay, so over here make sure to open this particular site packages, and over here you will have that docs file. So under this pip, you guys can see here you do have all those particular codes over here. Now let me just close this thing down right over here. And now if you do want to import those, you guys can come here and you guys can basically import those file right over here as well. So I hope you guys to have understood this particular class on how to actually import modules, and I also have told you guys about the PIP in Python. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone.